So, I'm Cat Nightingale, and I've been working with masculine and feminine polarity for a number of years now. I hope you don't mind me talking to you individually. And I was really inspired by this festival and how young people were coming together to help and support their peers. And I really wanted to bring something that would be of use, that would be of value to them. And this work that I've been working on feels like a really strong, powerful tool to help them integrate the masculine and feminine and be more powerful in the world. So what I've been doing is I've been collecting David Deida's 3 stages of masculine and feminine, and also some ancient Toltec teachings on masculine and feminine, and mapping them over the Taijitu, which is the Yin Yang symbol. So this is what we're going to be working through in this time together. So, let me just have a look at my theme. Yeah, just to say that this work feels particularly important at this time, where there's a movement to move beyond gender, and my feeling is that that will miss a lot of the gold that's to be found in the richness, the depth of teachings on gender and polarity. So I want, rather than throw the baby out with the bathwater, I would encourage a diving deep into gender to figure out exactly how it works, so that we can use it as a tool in our lives. So, okay, I want to start off by telling you a story. So, this is the story of how the Yin Yang symbol came into being initially, if you like. So, I know I've got some writing outside the Yin Yang symbol, but just for a moment, imagine that it's floating in a sea of nothingness, allness. It's floating in what the Native Americans would call the Great Mystery, that divineness that there is no description for, there is no word for, that had omniscience, omnipresence, all love, all light, all being, all glowing, perfection, truth, beauty, everything. So the divine had everything except one thing. Can you imagine what that one thing might be that the divine did not have? Masculine? Kinda. It didn't have... Say again?
Divine masculine.
Divine masculine. This C is before differentiation came about. So the masculine and feminine comes into form here.
On this planet here, or what is it?
On this planet, there isn't a planet at the moment. There isn't any place. There isn't any time. There's just all knowing, seeing, being, love, perfection. Shall I put you out of your misery? The one thing the divine lacked at that point was limitation. There was no boundary between the divine and something else, because there was nothing else. So the divine got a bit bored, like sitting up in heaven, everything's love and light and beautiful and perfect and wonderful, no time, no place. It's a bit boring. So the divine decided, I know what I'll do. I'll come into existence. I'll create time and place and separate into 2 primordial energies. So the masculine and the feminine. Got that the wrong way around, the masculine and the feminine. So these 2 energies are immanent in everybody, everything, every situation, and the blending of them creates something larger than the sum. Yeah. Okay. Let me look. Okay, I got a bit excited about this Yin Yang symbol because I've never mapped these teachings onto this before. So I just want to tell you some things that the Yin Yang symbol brings out. So it's made up of 3 Chinese symbols: the Taiji and the Tu. And the Taiji bit means the absolute before creation. So it's this round the edge of the circle and permeating into the circle, because in truth there's nothing that is not divine, it's all divine. So this nothingness, allness, love, light, being is permeating through the Taiji as well. And the to bit means to plan or to picture. And I find that particularly interesting because the plan bit is very masculine. The masculine ability to see into the future, plan for, I want this outcome, this arrow-like quality of the masculine. I want this to happen in the world because I think it would be positive for everyone. That's the masculine aspect of the divine. And the feminine is to picture, it's to take an overview of everything that's happening, to sense what's going on in the world and feel like, yes, I can imagine a creation that could be born into this world and really useful. Okay, so let's start by taking a journey through these elements. So the masculine and the feminine, the whole Tai Chi. The first thing to say about it actually is that it's a fractal. So for this workshop, we're going to be thinking of it in terms of an individual, you as an individual person. But it can also go bigger in fractal terms. So it can be a society, a culture, a country, a hemisphere. So like the northern hemisphere of our globe is considered to be more masculine, and the southern hemisphere more feminine, for example. And also it can go smaller, so your cells, your organs, in Chinese medicine, different organs have different balances of masculine and feminine, and promoting a healthy flow of those energies through the organs brings you health. And then also at a cellular level, and even an atomic level, and quantum, well, we don't really understand how that works, but I'm sure it goes all the way down. Okay, so, but for now, taking this as you as an individual in your journey through life, we're going to take, first of all, let's take the feminine journey. So this is anyone born into a feminine body who feels themselves to be feminine. It's also anyone born into a masculine body who feels themselves to be feminine. This is the prime journey you will take through life. Everyone also takes the other journey, but this will be your prime journey. So, the first aspect of the feminine, you need to think of a newborn baby. So it's that sense of, I'm not aware what's me and what's outside of me, that's just everything seems to be me. I don't know if you've watched a newborn baby kind of pat themselves on the hand and they're like, what is that? They're not even aware that their hand is their hand. It's like a magical awe and wonder exploration into the world, and a gradual coming to understand that I am bounded and there is a world out there that I can interact with. So the key words here are awe and wonder, immersion, utter immersion in your surroundings to such an extent that you're not aware of what's you and what's outside of you. Your ability to sense out into the world, so this is the real feminine gift that exists in the world, the ability to sense out into other people, situations, what's going on politically, what's going on in the world, and feel what the undercurrents of what's going on there. And lastly, unbounded. So the initial feminine, she has no bounds, like I said before. She's not aware of what's out there as separate from her. She feels it imminently in her body. Yeah? Let me just take a sip of water. Okay. So there's some attributes to this feminine. First is intuitive. The intuitive principle is very underrated in our culture. And inspirational. So things just kind of drop in. You know how the masculine likes to work it all out and get this information, that information, and work his way to, that's what's going on. Whereas the feminine natural way is like, it just arrives. I don't know how I came to know it, but I just know it. She's inclusive, so she wants to bring people in rather than separate and categorize. She's receptive, so she wants information, new ideas, creativity, beauty to come into her world. And she's open to change. There can be a rigidity in the masculine, but the feminine is like, I can imagine something way better than this. Yeah? Okay, so this is the beginning of the feminine journey. David Deida would say that then there's a step into stage 2. I'm going to change that slightly. I don't think, it doesn't feel to me like they're stages. It feels like they're more standing in one camp, standing in the other camp, and then getting to a place of balance. So when the feminine moves over into this seed of masculine that stands inside the feminine, it can be a smooth journey or it can be a rough journey. So in an ideal world, you can imagine that this unbounded feminine is like, actually, if I'm able to create a cell wall, a semi-permeable membrane between me and the outside world, then I have real choice about what comes in, what goes out, and what I prevent from coming into the world. So that's where we're heading. Maybe in a couple of 100 years we'll have that nailed down. But right now, our journey into this masculine tends to be a lot more bumpy and a lot more fractious. So this is certainly a very good description of my life from, let's say, teenagehood to about 35, when my whole world crumbled, and I was like, oh my God, the map that I had of the world doesn't work anymore. I need something else, which kind of led on to a lot of this. So how we tend to experience this stepping from feminine into masculine on the feminine journey is a taking on of boundary with the we tend to think of all these things as lesser and not of value and push them out of our world. So this little bubble of masculine here tends to be quite angry, very defensive, very Berlin Wall. So as opposed to a cell wall, think Berlin Wall. It's like, no, I can do this all by myself. I can do the career, the marriage, the family, the kids, the finances. I've got it all covered. I don't need your help. Thank you very much. So that's what I'm seeing on the planet right now, is what David Deida would call a second stage masculine. And what we're aiming for is to bring these two into balance. So when you have that cell wall, what's the word? Awareness of who you are in relation to the other, then you really have choice about what comes in, what goes out, and what doesn't come in. So it's a very heartful, strong, powerful place to be in, rather than the kind of weak, I don't know who I am and what I'm not, of the initial feminine, or the very rigid, bounded, fuck off and leave me alone of the second stage masculine. Okay, so let's now have a look at the masculine journey. So here you need to think toddler. Yeah, I guess that's another thing to say about the whole thing before we go on, is this whole map is fractal as well in terms of time. So it goes from newborn to toddler to teenager to late teenager to adult, and it also goes through phases in our lives, or epochs in time. So we've been in an epoch, you could call it the age of Pisces, when we were in this, I don't know, they look like fish to me going around, I don't know if they look like fish to you, that very swimmy, floaty, women are women, men are men, it's kind of simple, like that stage. And we've moved into, hey, hang on, no, there's masculine qualities and attributes in the feminine, and there's feminine qualities and attributes in the masculine. So we've kind of done that swing to these two dots, but it's not the end of the story. So this is why I get so excited about it, because I want to help you to take that next step of the journey into this inclusion of both. Okay, so with the masculine journey, we're starting here more at toddler than newborn. So think of two-year-old little boy. Yeah, I want. He's incredibly boundaried. So we've gone from a unbounded newborn to a child that knows who he is and what's outside of him and what he wants. And so he's like, I want that, and I don't want that. Utter clarity. So the aspects of this first stage masculine is definition, very clear on where the boundaries are, very clear on who he is and what is outside of him. Wants and needs, again, very clear on what they are. certainty. I don't know if you've ever tried to persuade a 2-year-old that they don't want that third lolly, even though they say they do. It's not easy. They're really definite and certain about what they want. And self-focus. So it's a natural time in our lives when we don't take anyone else into consideration. It changes very quickly. It changes by 3-4. Then we come into Piagetian play. But at this stage, it's like it's all about me. And later on, when you get into an awareness that it's not like that, it's like, what, there's other people with wants and needs on the planet, and they're not all my servants? Okay. Unbounded, like I say. So clear, determined, directional. This is another arrow-like aspect of the masculine, that he knows where he is, he knows what he wants is, and he'll take a straight line from here to there to get it. Okay, so this 2-year-old toddler stage, also there's a seed inside it, just like these 2 seeds here. This feminine seed inside the masculine yearns for understanding of what's going on out in the world around him, rather than being this very defined, separate thing. So he tries to come into connection with the world. And again, there's an ideal journey, and there's the journey that our boys and men go through right now. So the ideal journey looks something like, okay, I sense that other people have needs and wants, and that my action in the world creates an effect. And I want to learn how to sense that, so that what I bring to the world is a real gift, it's an act of service. And I think that's where a lot of our young men are really struggling right now. So how do I bring myself in a way that's full power, but without taking away anything that's beautiful in the world? So the journey that tends to happen right now is one more of apology. So that natural sensing out happens, there's an awareness that there's a lot of damage done on the planet, and there's a shrinking, like a denial of the masculine into, I'm sorry for existing. I want to ensure that you know that you're safe, that I'm not dangerous. This is a bit of a sidetrack, but there's a line in the Bible that's really interesting. It's the meek shall inherit the earth. And the meek, there's a lot of different translations to that word, but one of the Hebrew translations goes something like, he who knows how to wield a sword that keeps it sheathed. So it's not like this apologetic, weak, masculine shall inherit the earth. It's like a man who knows how to use his sword and wield it effectively and dangerously in service to all shall inherit the earth. But it's a very different spin on it, isn't it? Anyway, so from this place of weakness and apology and denial of the masculine, there's a potential to, like I said before, if you start in the masculine, you flip over to the feminine, there's a chance to integrate the two, bring the two together. So in that, you again connect with the heart. This is where we come to these words that I've written down on the side. So you can see in both the masculine and the feminine, there's a gifting. There's a sense of gifting your beingness into the world as an act of service, as an act of love. And it comes from the heart. When you connect your masculine and feminine, they're connected at the heart, and then you can offer yourself out to the world from your heart. But yeah, just focusing on the masculine for a moment. When these two come together, when there's this perfect balance between masculine with just a hint of feminine capacity to feel, there's a sense of purpose. There's a sense of, I know I have to offer, I know what my gifts are, and I know how I want the world to be different as a result of me being in it. I know what I want to achieve before I die, so that this world is good for my children and my grandchildren. There's a sense of awareness and precision, so it's still holding those masculine principles of directionality, of clarity, of precision. And he knows why. So this is a big thing that I notice in like the business world, that people know how to make a lot of money. They know what they're going to do when they get a lot of money. They know all the marketing that's needed in order to get a lot of money. They don't know why. They don't know why they're doing it. We're told that that's what we want to achieve in life. And I can tell you from experience that people who get there then ask why. Why have I done this? What's the purpose of this? How does this, like I said before, how does this change the world into a better place? So the third stage masculine, or the integrated masculine, I would say, knows why. He knows why he's on the planet and why he's doing what he's doing. The feminine keyword here, when she integrates the feminine aspect of herself with her seed of masculine, is discernment. So she is aware, it's like an awareness of what's required to come in to be good for the cell. Let's think of this as a cell for a moment. What will nourish the cell? What will be creative for the cell? What toxins are in the cell that need to come out? So again, her gifting comes from the heart. Her ability to sense the world and feel the world is a desire to transform it for the better. And the key feeling in here is one of yearning. So the feminine has the capacity to be at one with everything, feel this boundedness, and then in this beautiful boundedness, there's like I yearn to open to more of who I am than I can know by myself, which is where the connection between the masculine and feminine really comes alive. So she has a yearning for more, to create, for diversity, for flow. So whereas the masculine is very direct, I go from A to B, the feminine has a much more meandering way to get to where she's going. And she sees the bigger picture. This is the key element of the feminine, that she has an overarching view of what's going on and can see into the chaos, if you like, of what's going on. Okay, let's take the next step. So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about how rights and responsibilities and also victim and perpetrator map onto this. So for now, let's say that masculine is more associated with rights, especially this toddler here. I need, it's my right, it's my birthright. And the feminine is more associated with responsibilities. So she's more interested in the bigger picture, the community, inclusiveness. So she's more interested in, on responsibilities. So being able to respond to the group or to the situation. And then also, rather damagingly, I would say, in our culture at the moment, at this stage, we've got this idea that the feminine is victim and the masculine is perpetrator. And I want to offer the opinion and belief that that is damaging to both men and women, to both male and female. And that if the feminine learns to balance these and have a strong cell wall that has discernment, then her power will be soft, definite, and loving. So a no in that situation would be a I love you and no, I don't want that, that's not good for me, rather than this angry no that we're feeling at the moment. And similarly with the masculine, it feels like this movement into apology, like I'm sorry for my existence, yes I could be dangerous, I will try to prove by hiding my masculine so much that I make it obvious I'm not dangerous. And with that you lose your purpose, you lose your weapon that you want to keep sheathed. So I would say that again, when we connect these two, the bulk of your masculine with the seed of your feminine, and you're able to know how you want to make a difference to the world, but it's as a gift. And that's a much more powerful place in order to offer yourself to the world, because you know that it's in service to everyone else. You might be wrong, you might get people tell you how you're wrong, and then you can reset your arrow, but there's a purpose there, there's a gifting, a powerful gifting that I think we really need on the planet. Okay. Okay, so there's one more thing to say about this. And normally I've done it with the 3 stages mapped out, so this is a bit different. So, okay, we're going to stop this from being an individual, and we're going to have this as a relationship between 2 people. Let's say a man and a woman, just to make it easier. So this is the woman, and this is the man. Now, both of them can be either in their predominant essence, so her totally in feminine and him totally in masculine, in which case there'll be a lot of polarity between these two. The amount of energy that's stretched out from their distance is high. There's a lot of electricity going on here. But she lacks boundaries, and he lacks an ability to sense out. So that's kind of like old style relationships. What we're experiencing more of right now is relationships when she is in her little bubble of masculine with, I can do it all by myself, thank you very much, and he's in his seed of feminine with a sense of apology and it's okay, I'm safe, honest. And this would describe my marriage of 7 years. Both of us desperately trying to be the best we could for each other, but failing miserably and having no idea why. And when I came across this, I was just in tears of recognition, like, yeah, that's what was going on. I had no idea. So in this relationship, there's very little polarity because they're so close to one another. From the feminine polarity could be out here, she's come right in and she's right on the line with masculine. And he's come all the way from masculine right close to the feminine. So there isn't much polarity, there isn't much stretching energy between them. Which makes for, it can be a very functional relationship, but it's not very dynamic, it doesn't move forward. Then there's a potential for a relationship where the woman has integrated all her aspects, the masculine has integrated all her aspects, and then there's the potential again for a massive amount of polarity, with him holding the masculine pole and her holding the feminine pole, using her discernment to know when to open to what's coming at her and when to close, and him using his purpose to guide and steer the relationship in the way that it needs to for the betterment of both of them, for the growth of both of them. Okay, I think that pretty much brings everything to close. Let me just check. Oh, there's one more thing. This is a bit of a tangent. And it's not exactly mapped onto this, although I'm beginning to do that as well. But hitherto we've known a spiritual path that goes up the mountain, so to speak. So kind of, this is oversimplistic, but in terms of the Taijitsu, it's going from an awareness of you as an individual out to I am one with everything, I am divine. And the energy on the planet has changed, and now we need to do the next part of the journey, because we thought that was it. Like, we just realised we're all there is, and then we're done. Like, we could sit on top of a mountain and meditate and just wait for the rest of the world to catch up. And it's not like that. That's not how I see it anyway. So what seems to be happening now, the cutting edge of spiritual practice, if you like, and Tantra's been onto this for years, obviously, because it's so cool, is to come from an awareness of the totality, so all that is, into the body. So bringing our purpose, our discernment, our ability to think, to feel, to imagine, to, everything, bringing everything through the body so that we are God in action, if you like. I hesitate to use the word God because it's so laden, but the divine in action. Every time I get pissed off with someone, there might be some work inside to do, but also it is the divine working through me. It is the divine saying, hang on, I don't like that very much. So rather than moving from a negation away from human experience, it feels like the spiritual practice at the moment is to get right into human experience and allow the divine to see, hear, feel, taste, touch it. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for listening.